we just started really just putting out the word. This is what we were doing. And we at first met with a little bit of resistance. It's like, who the fuck are we? Why is this guy from Connecticut making a replacement documentary? But as we started talking to people, they realized that the kind of like angle we were coming through, which was really a fan angle, and that, I mean, I obviously think this is the greatest band. Well, maybe it's not obvious, but I do think this is the greatest band, period, ever. There's no way to touch it. I mean, and so I think that came across. So people just started lining up. And then, especially with the names, once you sort of get like, Craig Finn, now Colin, basically it's like, oh, well, Craig Finn, I got to do it. I mean, so. And we got most of the people we wanted. I mean, the one exception, the one person I probably would kill for was Bill Sullivan, who was on the road with them forever, and he won't talk to anybody. And even I've talked to Jesperson many times, and Jesperson thinks that maybe Bill's writing his own book. And
Jesperson wouldn't be in the film?
I didn't want Jesperson was too close to the band. Jesperson, though, gave me all the figures and things like that, so he was involved in the behind the scenes. And really, I mean, I think probably when he wrote to me and said how much he loved the movie, afterwards was probably like any comments, that was like one of the memories, Anyone else? Yes.
Did you lie to the old interviews, or did you have people say, hey, give me cameras?
No, we spent weeks everywhere. I mean, we were just either on the road flying or, Minneapolis is actually a drive, and I don't like to drive, and it was literally, it was a never-ending road trip, and it was 3 of us in my Jeep with equipment so packed in, the person in the back seat was just like struggling up. The only interviews I didn't shoot were things like the Matt Tomlin, who's a local guy who's not local anymore because he's now living in Switzerland, but the only way to get him was doing a Skype, and I just literally, I didn't use Skype, I used iChat. The Skype would not give me permission to use because they said they would only give me permission if I can guarantee there were no profanities. And it's like, literally, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Thinking to that, I mean, and so I ended up using iChat and literally just aimed the camera right at the thing. I did him that way, I did Scott from the Young Fresh Fellows that way, and actually that's that I used. We were on the road quite a bit. Minneapolis was long. We did 47 interviews in Minneapolis in 10 days. A total of 145 interviews, 250 hours of movie.
Grant Hart's still in Minneapolis?
Yes.
Is he as messed up as he looks?
No, he's actually fine now. I think that's just residual, unfortunately. I mean, we're going to be doing a double DVD set at some point, double DVD set, and one of the things on it will be the entire Grant Hart interview because it's wonderful. And I mean, he's great. He's actually going to be doing in Brussels. They're doing something called Minneapolis One Tour, and he's going to actually be playing there. And I'm going to go out and show the film, and he's going to do a Q&A with me. I mean, he's with it and smart and sarcastic, but yeah, he's definitely aging a little. Any others? Yeah.
I was wondering how much of it was intentional and how much of it was accidental, because there's like these gems in it that really speak to things that I always wondered, like for instance, like the kids won't follow police intro, and like, did you have to like really pry that? Not even pry, but did you have to like speak to that, or were they just kind of? Did you just receive it almost accidentally?
I knew who we were talking to in every case, so the legends are out there. So in the case of Terry Taxman, I knew he recorded that opening, so it was just getting him to tell the story. In most cases, we just went as it was. The only person I had to have him tell the story like 3 times is the guy who claims to be Tim. And I just so love him saying I am Tim. It's probably not true, but it's a potentially true story. I just love it. I mean, the idea that he thinks he is, or that the girl at the end thinks the song was written about her, and I'm sure Westerberg said that's the 20 girls that he wrote that song for them, Did I answer that?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay, I mean, the gems that we didn't expect was like Robert Godish, my farm guy. He wrote to Jan in Minneapolis and said, I've got I really love to talk to them. I used to imagine that I would have imaginary conversations with them when I was a kid on a farm in northern Minnesota. And Jan said to me, and I'm thinking, okay, if these are going to be the token crazy guy in the movie, or will just be what they were, you know. I interviewed all of you, not a big deal. Never, I walked out of there, and I'm returning to my crew going, that was the interview. It just sealed everything. Because I think he laid himself there. I love Robert Bowdish. I wish I had another 2 hours of Robert Bowdish. I would do a movie just on Robert Bowdish talking about the replacements. I think that, I mean, he spoke to all of us who have been, you know, who made a band a member of their family, you know, and no matter what they do, I mean, you know, Westerberg puts out weird things on AOL or puts out a single, and then you've got to buy the single, and you've got to then download the actual album through a special code and crap like that. Yet, I still do it. And it's not like I'm in love with this stuff that he's putting out, but it's sort of like your family member invites you to Thanksgiving, you go, you know? And I think that he spoke to that love, well, you know, and what a band, you know, or, you know, any musician. And I sort of hope that people come away from that even people who aren't replacement fans can like look at this and go, okay, I don't like the replacements, but I felt that way about, you know, The Clash or Elvis Costello or whomever, you know, Radiohead. It doesn't make any difference. But it speaks to the fan. Yeah.
Did you have to contact Tom Petty?
We tried to get Tom. Yeah, I mean, there were definitely a few. I mean, we put feelers out there, we tried, you know, but they weren't make or break for me. Like I would have still, like I said, I would still feel something. Tried for Tom Petty, tried for Prince, which I thought would have just been really cool. One of my favorites that I really wanted to get, we came very close, we could not get our schedule together, was Pat Sajak. Yeah, who is a huge replacement fan. And I thought just seeing Pat Sajak on the screen would be the last would have been worth flying wherever to get Pat Sajak, you know. I'm trying any other. We tried for Bob Bull, but Bob Bull doesn't want to talk about anything with Bob Bull. And I'm trying to think any other. We came really close with Billy Joe from Green Day, and we could just never get it hooked up. But my feeling was he's talked about them so much, it wasn't. I don't know that he would say anything here. You know, and I was just so happy that I had the Goo Goo Dolls saying, I can't believe no one ever stopped this band.
Oh,
I mean,
God, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't make me like their music anymore, but at least I respected them. You know? And so yeah, so I mean, I was happy, and it got to the point where I could still be shooting this now and getting more people time, but it's like the first cut of this movie was 3 hours long, you know, and I cut it down so we just basically covered. I wanted to cover every myth, every album, every single big part of their life, and still get a lot of the emotion out. So without it being, you know, unbearably long. Don't make it huge about it once. Anything you had a question?
It was a guy, Tim Rowe, I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yeah, we tried for him.
Like, I just discovered he's like a huge...
Yeah, but he got into a fight with Westerberg about something, and now he won't talk about it. I don't know if Westerberg stood him up to go on a show or something, but...
Well, I heard the radio broadcast of the interview, and it actually went off well. He was saying, like, he was a long-time fan, and he was at a concert years ago, and sort of, you know, he sort of couldn't wait to go up to him and talk about, like, what's your favorite album? In Better Than Please Meet Me, and Westerberg just totally blew off. And, whatever, I don't know what happened from there.
Yeah, I mean, despite making this, I have no desire to meet Westerberg. I never want to meet Westerberg for too long as I live.
So why is that?
Because I want to still be liking the music after and if he's a complete asshole, I would just stop. I would never listen again.
Yeah, I get that.
So why risk that? You know, there are certain people, you know, like I'm really good friends with the artist of Loaf. I don't ever want to meet Jeff Tweedy. You know, artist of Loaf. I mean, Jeff Tweedy might be the sweetest guy in the world, but the fact that he can be just like sarcastic prick, you know. Yeah. So, I would probably go for a beer with Chris Morris. I would have loved to have met Bob. You know, Bob, I mean, I think that was for me the surprise in making the film was how people looked at Bob as like the heart of the band. You know, Westerberg might have been a songwriter. And when you think about it, when you really look at it, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the last two records. without any question. I mean, once, at least pleased to meet me, still had the spirit of Bob. But if Don't Tell Soul was the first record I never heard by Replacement, I would have never, you could have not paid me to listen to the band ever again. That would have been it. I would have been standing there. So, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about your background? Is this your first film? Are you a musician? Are you a filmmaker? Are you both? Are you a music journalist?
This is feature 9 or 10 or something. I honestly don't even remember anymore. I've been doing it since 1983. I started off doing horror films in the 80s. Got really tired of doing horror films.
What horror films?
The best known one is Psychoform, which is you can get anywhere. It's sort of the best review of Psychoform I ever read. This was the first one. Then I just went to writing books in the 90s. Spent most of the 90s writing books, writing scripts, getting a lot of options, like 26 options to Hollywood, which made money, but nothing ever got made. And I got really tired of just like sitting in a room by myself writing, and I think I was going slightly crazy. So I decided to get back into the film thing. But I wanted to do it I wanted to do it with no investors. I don't want to answer to anybody. I want to do it just completely my way. So I mean, that's the only way I do movies now. It's like, it's either funded from Pocket or Kickstarter or something like that. I keep the crew incredibly small. Even doing a narrative feature, I do like 3 or 4 people. I'm doing a narrative feature now where the first 30 minutes, I was the entire crew. And one of my old DPs looked at it and he goes, it looks better than stuff we shot with 20 people. You know, and so if you know what you're doing, you don't need it. And in this day and age, the way independent films are, there is no more theatrical market. I mean, you know, no one gets into Sundance. I mean, everyone who's getting into Sundance next year probably already knows, with the exception of maybe 3 slots. So, I mean, all of that, sending your film in, it's just, seriously buy a lottery ticket. It's $100. Buy 100 lottery tickets, you probably have just as much chance of winning. And unfortunately, that's the way they're doing. They're all controlled by the studios and by viewers and by favors and by. So it's the whole independent film market, independent film will move. So it's sort of like you need to be able to keep the cost down and be able to make enough money back on VOD, iTunes, DVD, very, very foreign. So this way you can actually like make a living. So thankfully,
is this DVD available?
No, the DVD will be out in January. We might have an iTunes exclusive for a few weeks before for this one. Yes.
How did you come to the project from the initial idea? I thought it was